Today we're going to talk about the topic of woke and aware. I'm sure these are terms that you may have come across in your little explorations of the internet. And today I'm going to touch on this because there is actually slight or vastly variations of woke and aware. And they can mean quite different things. Wokeness today is often wrapped up in political correctness, social programming, and narratives that we can unconsciously give our power to. And awareness is often where true freedom starts. Now, on the surface level, woke, it was originally meant in regards to injustices, right, and putting them right. Today, it's become more of a following narratives without reflection, reacting based on social pressure, and performing correctness for approval. Meanwhile, awareness is more aligned with personal sovereignty, and it's more about observing your thoughts and reactions, noticing when you're being programmed by culture, media, or peer pressure, understanding the deeper systems and the forces at play, and also checking your beliefs and actions consciously. Awareness puts the power back with you rather than giving it to someone else that may not necessarily have everyone's best interests at heart. So I guess like a little saying that I quite like about it is, woke can be seen as a mirror and awareness can be seen as a light. And woke will kind of show you what the societal problems and inequalities are, and awareness is going to illuminate not only the world but also your role, your biases, your triggers, and how your energy is affecting that which is around you. Wokeness can often outsource their the moral compass to things like influencers and social media or trending narratives, whereas awareness is more about reclaiming your internal sovereignty, and not just for you but also for that which is around you, your family, your friends, your community. And you don't just react, you reflect. You make choices that align with the values of your integrity. And there's a lot to be said around like emotional literacy versus emotional reactivity, right? So wokeness can trigger quite sort of outrageous reactions, or fear, defensiveness. It's emotional energy, and it's not always about actual understanding. Whereas awareness is leaning more towards emotional literacy, and that's more about noticing triggers and processing emotions and responding consciously. Being aware of these things allows you to act intentional instead of reacting and projecting that which you're not able to process or that you're struggling to process onto others without even their sort of consent. There's this kind of like nuance versus absolutism that can occur as well. Wokeness can kind of create more of a binary way of thinking, right versus wrong, ally versus enemy, progression versus backward. And awareness embraces more of that nuance, that uncertainty. There's a grey area that we have to learn to move into and be comfortable and embody that. And without learning the nuances of grey, we won't really fully step into what we may consider to be wise or to be wisdom holders. Awareness is more like maturity in thought, and it lets you engage more meaningfully, and even in difficult conversations, just the ability to listen, acknowledge its difference to the way you see or feel things, and to accept that there's a difference there. You know, sometimes work can also encourage more like expression. Like expressing what you say and what you post and how you appear. It's kind of external and very physical, surface level kind of performance. Whereas awareness has more of an emphasis around integration. It's about how are your thoughts and your values and actions aligning internally and externally. The sustainability of wokeness, I don't see a longevity in it at this moment in time, because without awareness, it can be exhausting. There's guilt cycles, there's social friction that can occur, there's contrasting of, policing of self and others. And awareness, it seems to have more of a sustainability to it in regards, with its personal growth. It has more of a calmness, it has more of a reflective and a steady kind of energy to it. You don't need external validation to be in your awareness. So practical ways to cultivate the awareness are things like, questioning everything, observing your triggers, checking your sources, anchoring in yourself, and embracing the nuance of life. It's there. It teaches us a lot. And if we're not able to embrace it, we block our growth. We get in our own way of what it is to be a human here today. So yes, reclaiming your thoughts and your beliefs and your emotions and your actions from external programming. And because, when you're aware, you don't just react to the world, you move through it with clarity, integrity, and power, and you're really able to make a great shift and change, not just within yourself, but that which is quite close in proximity and around you. It's important. It can be considered an important place to move into, especially if you're caught up in the woke, how would I put it, side of the pendulum. Yeah, for sure. Any questions, any more that you want to add to that? Welcome to pop that in the comment section below, and we will see you again soon.